The Tudor dynasty was very successful. The firm and hard-working monarchs created a stable, peaceful society. The dynasty lasted from 1485 to 1603. It began with Henry VII's ascent to the throne and ended with Elizabeth I's death in 1603. Henry Tudor, who was of a peasant origin, successfully defended the English at the Battle of Bosworth. This was a crucial battle in the War of the Roses, which was between the Lancastrians and the Yorkists. He was elected king soon after, and he began the Tudor dynasty in 1485. He married Elizabeth of York to create an alliance that was necessary to affirm that there would not be a rebellion to overthrow Henry as king. Due to the previous battles within England itself, the country Henry had come to rule was economically devastated. The legal system had become less relevant to English citizens, and an invasion by the Spanish Armada was bound to overwhelm Henry and his people. Before the end of his reign, however, Henry VII made peace with Spain and the rest of Europe as he avoided the ruin of his newly restored territory. Henry VIII, son of Henry VII, is probably the most well-known ruler in England's history because of his many wives in conflict with the Catholic Church. He had never planned on becoming king because his older brother Arthur was supposed to take the throne to continue the Tudor dynasty. Due to Arthur's early death, Henry was crowned at age 17. He was widely accepted by his people because of his enjoyable personality and his striving to lower taxes. The first of Henry's 6 wives was the former wife of Arthur, Catherine of Aragon. After many encounters, Henry realized that Catherine was not going to be able to produce a male to continue in his place. After an argument with the Pope to divorce Catherine, Henry split the English Church from Rome. He soon married Anne Boleyn through love and fear that the dynasty would not carry on. He had 4 more wives after Anne, and finally had a son that he could pass the crown to upon his death. Henry died in 1547. His reign was successful in the sense that it altered the lives of the English people, creating new religious lives and a new social standard among the following English monarchs. Edward VI was the son of Henry VIII, and he was very young when he was crowned upon his father's death. This explained why he personally did not govern the land. His uncle, the Duke of Somerset, ruled for him, because the child, Edward VI, could not manage the power over this vast amount of land. Edward had been raised as a Protestant, and Protestant beliefs had spread to the point where persecution of the Catholics had become slightly apparent. Edward died at age 15 of tuberculosis. Queen Mary was a devoted Catholic, contrary to her brother Edward. Her rule began in 1533. She was disliked by the English due to her marriage of a Spanish monarch, Philip. They also knew that since their queen was of a religion that was opposed to Protestantism at the time, there might be problems. The suspicions of the English people were well met. Mary was soon given the nickname Bloody Mary because she had almost 300 people killed on account of their Protestant beliefs. Queen Mary died in 1558. Elizabeth I began her rule in 1558, after her sister Mary's death. Quote, "She was shrewd, highly educated, and had a forceful personality. With a sharp tongue she asserted her iron will, causing sparks to fly in exchanges with Parliament. Elizabeth, however, used her authority for the common good of her people." End quote. She had not expected to receive the crown, because her brother Edward and sister Mary had inherited the throne before she had. Elizabeth was a devout Protestant, and chose to give her people a choice of their religion, rather than persecute anyone of any different religion, like Mary. Elizabeth never married, and many historians question why. She didn't want to marry Philip, Mary's former husband, because he was Spanish and wanted England to stay Catholic. Elizabeth and the English defeated the Spanish Armada, and England became a world power. Elizabeth I's reign made England very highly respected politically, militarily, and economically. Tudor monarchs wielded a great amount of power, but still had to abide by the English laws. This shows the constitutional monarchy of the Tudors, but they were the most powerful people in England at the time, and could make almost anything happen if they desired it. The English people gave absolute respect and honor to their ruler, and anything contrary was often punished. The Tudors generally ruled strictly, but with good intentions and peace for their people in mind.
Some of the biggest failures of the Stuart rule came during the rule of King James when he came from Scotland. When James took the throne, he thought highly of himself. However, James had a hard time dealing with Parliament. He was able to understand the needs of his subjects, but just did not adjust to his surroundings. Therefore, he was unsuccessful in his political rule. However, James was more successful in his dealings with the church. During his reign, James made certain that the English clergy was well educated, and the Catholic congregation rose during the Gunpowder Plot.
After James died, his son Charles I took the throne. Charles did not have the love of peace that his father had, and started a war with Spain and later France. To fight the wars, Charles needed to get money from Parliament. Parliament, however, denied his request. He dismissed Parliament and for the next 11 years ruled alone. Both he and his father believed in the divine right of kings, which angered his Scottish subjects and led to the Bishop Wars. These weakened the financial state of Charles's rule and led to civil war. Charles was executed in 1649. After his father was executed, Charles took the name Charles II of England and was formally recognized as the King of Scotland and Ireland. In 1651, Charles invaded England and tried to defeat Cromwell to restore his monarchy. His armies were defeated and he fled to France, where he spent 8 years. In 1660, an event known as the Restoration took place when Parliament asked King Charles to return and become King Charles II. His monarchy was known as the Merry Monarchy because of his love of parties, music, and theater. Charles was low on money and was forced to marry Catherine from Portugal, but continued to have financial problems. He died in 1685. In 1685, the Duke of Monmouth, or James II, launched a rebellion with the support of the laborers and farmers. This rebellion ended with the Battle of Sedgemoor. After the rebellion, there was a series of quick trials preceded by Judge Jeffreys. Judge Jeffreys condemned hundreds of men.
Mary ruled with her husband William. They ruled England together from 1689 to 1702. Because of James, Parliament established the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights prohibited Catholics to rule. During their rule, a band of merchants established the Bank of England. In 1702, Queen Anne II, daughter of James II, took over. For the first part of her rule, she was under the influence of the Duchess of Marlborough. Later, she became independent. Mary was the final ruler of the Stuart rule. During the Stuart age, the government was both ruled by one leader and parliamentary.